It's training a week, whereas the marathon demands, your whole life dedication.
Well, we've been stuck for commentators down here this afternoon. We could have booked Rory Bremner.
Oh, there, fabulous Mike Smith, you say. I remember you all those days ago, back at Radio 1, and look how it's come on, viewers. Absolutely fabulous there.
Yeah, isn't it wonderful?
It's really fantastic. I can't believe it. Really fantastic. Wonderful response.
I'll tell you, actually, a few more runs are going to be here this afternoon than Gower got yesterday. I must say, if any of you have been watching England recently, wondering what a run is, take a look around Hyde Park today, and you're going to see quite a few, I should think.
Are you actually going to be running as yourself or as another character?
Well, I don't know. I think everyone's getting involved. I mean, Michael Parkinson's doing Dustbin Aid. I know he's doing a sponsored bin run somewhere in the distance. And Roy Hattersey's going to be doing Eat the World, which is going to look forward to that later on. I might run as Ronald Reagan and try and get re-elected. But as you see, I've been given a special T-shirt. It said ruin the world, but I Tipp-X'd out the I. But hell, I'm running if only to show that beneath this bland exterior there beats a heart of, well, in fact, there beats a pacemaker of pure gold. And Nancy will be behind me, Lady Grecian will be egging me on all the way. But
you do realise you're working with a company of people like Desmond Liner this afternoon, don't you?
Oh, I do indeed. It's absolutely remarkable, because I'm joined in fact by Motti. Yes, exciting stuff actually, Desmond, and I hope you're watching, because of course this is all taking place in Hyde Park, home of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, should they ever move here. And it really is exciting stuff, and I certainly should be looking forward to the end of the match when I'll be able to give you all the facts and figures reeling off my fingertips, as I always do, Mike.
Can you say one more thing? Back to the studio.
Well, back Murray Walker handing you over to the studio in Belgrade. No, London. No, Johannesburg. Well, back to Desmond.
I don't think he can do me,
No.
Or probably you.
It's a good day not to be known, Des.
Right.
Brisbane, though, this has got to be 2 o'clock in the morning.
Cricket in America, English baseball on Valium. We've got Razor Phillips back here, Queensland wicketkeeper, who should...
Well, I can tell you that in Auckland already, they've raised $1 million. And the Brisbane route is along the river, and the shops and offices have been lit up for that. There's 400 glow torches going on the run. They expect 20,000 to take part. And they've got Australian rules football, they've got a race in Adelaide, Canberra, Hobart, Melbourne, Perth and Sydney.
The weather's got no better in Auckland, I see, Ron.
No, but they've got their torches glowing. That's a good thing. It'll not stop the New Zealanders running. John Walker's running in that race, and Philbert Bayi, 2 former world record holders for 1,500 metres. That's the home of Peter Snell, as I said. It's there are plenty of runners. Oh. But Auckland is underway. And a lot of these athletes will be coming to the Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh in July. Superb piece of organisation.
Hi there, world. This is London, and we say welcome to the workout.
Africa to London. The cast of Cats, the cast of 42nd Street, and a whole number of celebrities there for that workout prior to the race against time.
a flyby, a flyover as Omar Khalifa runs to the United Nations to light the torch.
Concorde arriving in New York. Good day to be in London, good day to be in New York. If not, it's a good day to get on the phone. Swinging London. Rome nice and sunny. Ready for their big race. 20,000 runners. It's a race over 7.5 kilometers. And of course, that's the Castel Sant'Angelo. That's where the flame was lit by Omar Khalifa, and it's been burning there all week. Budapest, their race over 10 kilometers. 5 kilometers for children. 10,000 expected to run. And this will exceed the record by a considerable margin. The biggest race they've ever had before in Budapest is 3,400.
John Hurt.
That's right, yeah.
They're asking me, I know. Okay.
Donations, please. 636-1566 if you're in London. Birmingham 780-4122. Scotland, Belfast, all need these pledges today. London is swinging, but remember too, tremendous efforts going on in Bolton, in Derby, Exeter, Folkestone, Gateshead, Leicester, Birmingham. 200 cities around the world. In Irvine, Jeff Capes, the strongman, will be pulling his weight. Brendan Foster and Stevie Cram will be up in Gateshead.
We're boring somebody, I think. As the youngest swinger in town.
Yeah. London still gently swinging.
Looking at the children there's a toddle aid, you know, going on up in Barnard Castle, County Durham. 100 children between 18 months and 5 years are going to toddle to help us.
I just think that would take as much organisation as this.
Sting. Now he's quite a runner apparently. He can make a good time this afternoon.
Taught Terry Wogan about the Alexander technique, didn't he? Sting getting ready for the run. Dublin getting ready for their big run.
Also Frank Reedy, editor of Irish Runner magazine.
That's their traditional jazz band, of which they're very proud.
Down under again now.
We're looking forward to greeting the Australians too in Edinburgh. Sting, the centre of attraction.
And in excellent company, it seems.
Say that again, Des.
Very fascinating to see how they actually get this race underway in just a few minutes' time.
Budapest again. This is a reminder that the Eastern Bloc are very much involved. And in Moscow there are diplomats from 16 different embassies running with a few bankers and businessmen. They're having their fun run. Bulgaria also has a great soccer match going on, table tennis and tennis, and volleyball tournaments. For them too, it's the culmination of a great week. Sport Aid. One or two athletes amongst that lot that will be used to running this probably put their elite runners up at the front to get them out of the way and let the families run from behind, as we've done in the London Marathon these past 5 years. They too have got their dancers out, folk dancing in Budapest, and they've got a great soccer match going on between journalists and actors, all dedicated to Sports Aid. And we're back to Brisbane again. That's a tremendous turnout.
Incidentally, Ron, in Abu Dhabi, authorities are urging the people to take part there despite 32 degrees centigrade temperatures. That's 90 degrees Fahrenheit. But the state radio there has announced women must wear long skirts.
I'd like to say a special hello to everyone in Australia who've been waiting up all night. So if you could help keep the Australians awake. They've only got a couple of minutes to wait. If we could say hello to everybody in India, because it's 11 o'clock at night in India. Say hello to India. If we could say hello to everybody in Africa, where it's 125 degrees in the heat. Say hello, Africa. If we could say hello and welcome to all the people in America who are joining hands across America on Sport Aid today. Hello. In Russia, in Japan, in Europe, all across the world, Hyde Park and the rest of England, will you please welcome the world to this Sport Aid event. And let's hope that tomorrow in the United Nations they pay attention to the blistered feet of 20 million people who will be joining us this afternoon.
And New York sees the arrival of Omar Khalifa, almost on cue from St. Bob.
To Omar Khalifa, the man who came out of the deserts of Sudan and ran with such dignity and such pride and represents what Africa could be if it was given half a chance. I'm going to run about 30 yards and then I'm going to fall down dead. Those of you who are watching at home, please get ready to leave your front doors right now and join us running around your block. If you're not prepared to do that...
The dignity and calm of Omar Khalifa.
And phone up the numbers and bring your money down to the banks and the post offices on Tuesday morning. We need it just as much as we needed on that bright day last summer. Somebody up there likes us because it's still not raining. I don't have very much else to tell you except that I'm overwhelmed with what's happening here in London today and what's happening around Britain. It's one thing to ask people to watch a pop concert of stars. It's another thing to ask people to get out and run 10 kilometres of their city. So thank you very much. You can affect the world you live in.
There's no doubt about that. And the quiet dignity of Omar Khalifa, the words of a certain cavalier who disregards protocol and bureaucracy, gives this unconventional approach to giving, but has achieved the almost impossible. Fighting famine is not the life work of this rock musician, nor this man. But get it together on a day like this, and the whole world can be motivated to give. The steps of the United Nations. This, the ambassador from Africa. And that General Assembly meets with their special session on Africa and their needs. This is a day when the nations are united. And it's a rare day for that. Symbolic flame echoed here in London. And Athens has begun their race. We know that New Delhi started some hours ago. The starving subcontinent doing their bit today. Africa, the world recognizes, has a very special problem. That's Ouagadougou. There'll be a short time lag, but they'll get there and their race will be underway. And of course their president, Thomas Sankara, has insisted that the whole of his cabinet runs. In Rome, well, that could well be Orlando Pizzolato, twice winner of the New York Marathon. And in Auckland, Joan Walker will be there, Filbert Bayi will be there, and this rain won't bother them a bit. And it won't dampen their spirits in Brisbane either. The war is running. 20 million people are underway. And the phone lines are still open. That's the biggest race ever in Budapest. And it really doesn't matter whether they walk the whole way. Barcelona, one of the cities bidding for the 1992 Olympic Games. Their annual marathon, they've changed to this day. 50,000 runners in Barcelona. The link up with Africa. Ouagadougou. Upper Volta it was, now Burkina Faso. And it's well over 100 degrees. And this is a nation that knows all about famine. Budapest. This will stir a few souls there who've never seen a race bigger than 3,500. And London sees 200,000 on their way in the race against time for these Africans. What a pity the politicians can't get it together as sport and showbiz has on this day. That nation of great givers, Ireland, who've more than got their 10,000 in Dublin, in Phoenix Park. What a tremendous link-up. What an effort from West Africa. The president has called the people in from all the surrounding villages and said, this is the day you must tell the world that you understand what's going on. It's by way of saying thanks. The Iron Curtains have come down today. And the scenic route of Rome. And the Chugga-Luggas of Brisbane. And we're seeing a dozen cities, of more than 200 cities, that are taking part. 50,000 in Barcelona. Past the statue of Christopher Columbus and the replica of the Santa Maria in which Columbus sailed to America. And you were asking, Des, how they'd get underway in one direction, how 200,000 are motivated and started. Well, they're underway in Hyde Park.
Like a great snake trailing around the entire place, isn't it?
A nice gentle jog. And they'll enjoy the route at this pace. They'll run around the north side of the park and then the southwest corner of Hyde Park. Around Hyde Park Corner itself. And they'll reach halfway at Constitution Hill, that avenue which borders Buckingham Palace Gardens and Green Park. Then around Buckingham Palace, home of the Queen. New Delhi is underway. And no one has to tell the subcontinent about the starving. The Scouts and Guides have generated tremendous numbers running today in the whole of India and Pakistan. It's the young that have really been motivated, but they're getting it together there in New Delhi, on the track which staged the Asian Games. These are the critical numbers. The numbers that can stave off another catastrophe. Political barriers have been stormed on this day, and rightly so.
Rowers are out today as well, Ron. I'm not so sure that isn't Oxford and Cambridge out on the river.
Well, it would be a nice gesture, would it not? Oxbridge, one of the great homes of sport. In the days when idealism was all important, they should be involved on a day like today. That's Harry Belafonte there with Omer Khalifa, another of the great givers. And what a mess they've got out in Barcelona.
It's a masterpiece of organisation on behalf of Bob Geldof and his team, you have to say that.
We said that at Band-Aid, didn't we, Des? We said they couldn't get it all together. They got it together. And it's this breaking through the barriers of bureaucracy that they do so well. And he's not exactly a pinstripe suit brigade, is he?
If he were, it wouldn't have happened, I think.
That's right. He's a fellow that makes Daley Thompson look well-dressed.
Daley on the line here for you.
That's it. It looks as though they've closed the roads down in Brisbane. 1 or 2 heavyweights. That's good.
It is, of course, early hours in the morning there.
It's going to take an hour or 2 just to clear Hyde Park, isn't it?
Amazing turnout in Spain, isn't it?
Well done, Barcelona. One of the cities bidding, as I said, for the 1992 Olympic Games. We think they've got a stadium which finishes uphill. We're telling them that.
Be tricky for the marathon, won't it?
That's right. Actually, they turn out a tremendous marathon each year in Barcelona, and this traditional day has been given up for Sport Aid in place of their annual marathon. It's a 10-kilometer race. They're burning it up in Rome. What a beautiful route they've chosen.
It's not John Walker, I don't think.
Well, some Boy Scouts in uniform there in Athens. 1 or 2 in tracksuits, 1 or 2 stripped off. It looks warm to me.
That's my sort of pace, Ron.
That's my sort of shape, Des. Yeah, leaping about in Dublin. Youngsters there. Not too much training on the tracks, the athletic tracks of London this morning. As I came through, most of them were here. Sebastian Coe out in New York to meet Omar Khalifa. Touches of the London Marathon. Nice gentle jog, sort of thing you can take your children on. And Bob Geldof is still urging you to go out and join, or get on the phone, or preferably do both. Buckingham Palace. End of the mile, and the phone numbers that are all important on your screen. The Victor Emmanuel Monument in Rome. The old wedding cake. The first king of Italy. There it is. Down below that, the Spanish Steps. A little way away, the Trevi Fountain, where you pledge to come back to Rome. I think that's Filbert Bayi running in Auckland. I think that's Filbert Bayi from Tanzania, the former Commonwealth champion and world record holder at 1,500 metres.
Wasn't it down in New Zealand he broke the world record?
Absolutely.
In 1974.
In Christchurch. The parachutists arriving in London, just to remind us about those paratroopers who are still heading their way up to Nottingham in that Chinese boat, 22 of them, and they want so much money thrown in the boat that it'll sink before it gets to Nottingham.
If it doesn't sink, they say they failed.
Yes. France too, they've had 1,000 races against time and 30,000 races in Paris alone. We can't see all the cities taking part. They've had tennis at the Trocadero, a showbiz soccer match, and a nightclub pub crawl, as they had in Soho last night. Running in the shadows in Rome.
Not into a tree, surely.
I think he saw the tree and put the brakes on there, Des. Barcelona's big run. That could be the finish post for them.
It's a world record if it is, Ron, I'll tell you.
Athens, in that old Olympic stadium, where it was so narrow and confined you could almost shake hands with those running in the 5,000 metres opposite. The Mall. And the supporters have turned out again. Good day to be out in London today. Roller skating. And we've seen Torvill and Dean on ice, have we not? That's the place to be, a back marker in Dublin. Plenty of people to help you on your way. I think some of them could take a few hours to finish this one, Des, in Dublin.
Looking that way. Just finish in time for opening time, I should think.
A little lifty water to help them on their way. Filbert Bayi on the right, I'm sure. It is. Putting on a little weight these days. But my word, he emerged from Tanzania and put Tanzania on the map.
What a great athlete he was. Still is, but he was the great front runner, wasn't he?
Absolutely. Remember too, in Budapest, there's a tremendous number of other activities going on. Soccer matches, basketball matches, folk dancing. And a lead car for the serious runners who really want to know what time they're going to do for 10 kilometres. That looks like Hugh Jones almost. He's...
They'll be running about half an hour, won't they, the good runners?
That looks like Hugh Jones. My word, it is Hugh Jones. Well, there you are, running in the London Marathon and now running this race against time. And he's storming a pace.
What sort of time will he do this afternoon, do you think?
28 minutes. It's difficult to say. but it's good to see him there. Grete Waitz in New York, the first lady of marathon running from New York, who's graced their New York Marathon so many times. Skating, running, jogging.
Daley Thompson for a minute there. No.
It's a Haringey athlete, and he's really great. I haven't identified him. He's one of mine. Good man. Big Ben at about 4 miles.
Here come the chefs.
Hats off to the Queen. Nicely done. Budapest really getting the sense of the occasion. At Rome too, not so many crowds on the street. But St. Peter's Square awaits them. Where Omar Khalifa met the Pope. Brisbane, 2:30 in the morning. Just stretching out the runners in London and in Barcelona. $100 million already generated from Live Aid. And it's pricked the consciousness of governments and politicians around the world. And that it must do as well. This is just a reminder that the emergency in Africa is far from over. 3 years of incredible drought, and children are still dying. Must be a real sense of occasion in Budapest, but they've never seen more than 3,500 runners before, and well over 10,000 today. $20 million people running for Africa. And that is a marvelous gesture. Toronto. Toronto, Canada, in that park on that island. It looks a trickle, but in all the cities stretched across Canada, there are family runs. It's the week when they want to raise the consciousness of health and physical fitness. of those shadows look quite welcome in Rome. It looks quite warm. In Athens. That magnificent stadium still stands as a symbol of the 1896 Olympic Games. Brand new Olympic Stadium been built since then. And the message has got to get through to these youngsters, and the message has got through. In fact, all this idealism is a real measure that the pop world and the world of sport can get it together. And it's a message to the generation which often scorn them. When they're motivated, they can be tremendous givers. And Hyde Park emptying at last. 200,000 gathered there this morning. The London Palace of Her Majesty the Queen, built in 1703 incidentally, bought by George III in 1761 and then rebuilt by George IV. That's a scene we're used to. Sort of fun run which everyone is capable of. 10 kilometres, a little over 6 miles. Sort of thing which could be managed on 2 or 3 days of training a week. Well, we do ourselves the world of good, as well as the starving in Africa. Running down the Placa de Catalunya. Barcelona. That's that hill, I think. And the driving music of Vangelis that inspired Chariots of Fire. Good day to be alive and fit and well and not hungry. Some of the cities around the world that have donated this day to give in their way. Those phone lines are open. London 636-1566. Birmingham 021-780-4122. In Edinburgh 357-1774. In Belfast 232-668. Dublin. What a race we've got in Dublin. There you are. A run right to the line. "28 minutes and 25 we think they've done in Dublin. "28:26, we'll make a note of that. That still looks like Hugh Jones storming. A human lifeline reaching out to Africa from London. And London has every reason to feel proud of its efforts today. And the diggers in Brisbane. And a recognisable face that London will cheer. Back to Hyde Park, of course. Start and finish in Hyde Park. And it's going on, remember, in Bolton, in Derby and Exeter, Folkestone, Gateshead and Leicester, and in Birmingham and in Harlow. 10,000 expected in Harlow this morning. Birmingham, 6,000 runners. It's a big day for athletics because the United Kingdom Closed Championships are going on at Cwmbran, so you'll excuse some of those athletes not being here. And I understand that Wendy Sly has just won the 3,000 metres. There's that lifeline. A 1,000 years of history in Budapest, and yet they won't have seen anything quite like this. And what about Toronto's race to the line? Their race against time is a very personal one for them. Remember this? This was the start. In London, 4 p.m. That's how they got them away. As that flame arrived at First Avenue, New York, 11 a.m. their time, when it was 2 a.m. in Sydney and 2 p.m. in Arusha. And Hugh Jones must have edged his way to the front to get a clear run. Because he was leading in this London run. And they've just about finished in Budapest. And they're still going in Barcelona. This is a day that's worth 100 gold medals. Hugh is finished. Looks nice and relaxed. Runs for Ranelagh. He's a town planner. He's a past winner of the London Marathon and he's turned out again today. Wearing his Ranelagh vest. Oh, storming finish. A few bikies, a few roller skaters. And that's Filbert Bayi that's finished in Auckland. This is Trinidad, home of Carnival. They'll be having a ball there, no doubt about that. Great day for the Dubliners. Phoenix Park. We just hope that every one of these 20 million runners is sponsored. Imagine that if they are. Imagine the income that's so desperately needed. It could even match that from Live Aid, the $100 million that was raised by Bob Geldof and the original Live Aid. This will be the end of the road for Bob Geldof. He's got other things to do, and rightly so. But it's been a year of giving. And he's shaken the politicians and the bureaucracy, broken down all sorts of barriers, and given inspiration to another generation. The Brazilian flag. And remember, this is going on in Iceland, Japan, in Nepal, all around the world. And this is the band that's outside the United Nations building. That's Harry Belafonte. Greta Weitz is there. I think Eamon Coughlin is there. Sebastian Coe is certainly there. Eamon will be delighted with what's gone on, and Seb will be delighted with what's gone on in London too. Thought I might have caught a glimpse of Whitestones there, the great high jumper. Barcelona advertising their bid for 1992, and I'm sure the 6,000 runners in Birmingham are doing just that as well. Khalifa. This is a couple of weeks that will have changed his life. The 30-year-old Sudanese father of 5 who was plucked out of Africa to become their ambassador on this great, great day of giving. Port of Spain in Trinidad. 30,000 expected to take part in their run. They had a lovely pre-race warm-up with steel bands. That's the National Stadium, where Daley Thompson spent a couple of weeks there last November, coaching their athletes. Good fine day in London. A deserved day. Finish of the Rome race. A lot of club runners in the same coloured vest, but I know that Pizzolato, twice winner of the New York Marathon, is running in this race. They're going to shed a few pounds, and that will surely bring home what this problem's all about. This is a marvellous exercise in bringing the world together. It's been a marvellous technical exercise too in bringing these pictures together. Just let me remind you that 20 million people are running around the world for the starving people of Africa. This is the culmination of a great week of sport aid, where we saw in Britain that ultimate cricket match at Edgbaston with the West Indies versus the rest of the world, the International Rugby Sevens, which finished in a final between New Zealand and England at Cardiff. The Birmingham Exhibition Centre became the centre for Jane Torville and Christine, which was a sellout. There was international gymnastics there. There's the aquatic games in Nottingham. It's where showbiz and sport bringing all together from Bolton to Bangkok, where Ireland held an international angling event and Italy published a special postage stamp. Where there was tennis in the Trocadero in Paris, where Sierra Leone formed a 10-kilometre human chain of schoolchildren singing "We Are the World," where in Israel, Ethiopian Jews were airlifted out of Ethiopia last year, showed their support for Africa by running this race against time in Tel Aviv, where 1,000 children lined up yesterday on Capstone Hill in Ilfracombe to form the message Sports Aid. Where in Iceland, their president, together with Miss Iceland and Miss Scandinavia, ran, probably followed by hundreds and hundreds of men. There was a group jump rope exercise in Japan, and Mickey Mouse led a 3-kilometre race through Disneyland. And in Nepal, there was a race from Kathmandu to Hillary's base camp on Everest, where they broke the record and set a new record of 4 days, 14 hours and 20 minutes. And where in Hyde Park, Sting gathered, and the whole world of showbiz gathered, with the world of sport, and 200,000 people, inspired by Chris Long and St. Bob. This culmination of sport aid, sponsored by UNICEF and by Sport Aid, and a few along the way like IBM and British Telecom and British Airways, and 20 million people around the world.
It's the second time I've seen you win in London. Last time was the London Marathon. How was that?
Do you mean this last London Marathon?
I saw you win the London Marathon a few years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
No, well, it was more clear memory actually a month ago when I was second.
What's the route been like out there today? Because we just can't move for people around here.
Yeah, well, it was very hard getting clear of people at the start because there's so many people around, but once I got to the front, it was pretty clear going. It's very, very well-marked route and all the rest of it. It's a little bit of wind coming back up Piccadilly, which is reminiscent again of London Marathon.
Seemed to be all sorts of things on the course apart from runners. There were a few bikes out there as well.
A lot of bikes, a lot of skateboarders, but they were fairly good about keeping out of the way.
Have you ever seen so much enthusiasm in one day?
The London Marathon pulls it pretty close, but this is bigger in terms of numbers, I'm sure, although I haven't heard any figures on it.
Well, many congratulations on what can be described as a win.
Thanks, I'm sure everybody's going to win today, I hope.
Thanks, Hugh.
Mike Smith doing our interviews there today, and those are the scenes still at the start. For many people, the race only now getting underway. As Ron's been telling you, 200,000 people. There might even be more. In fact, now it seems to be clear that there are more than that. So the race will go on for a considerable time for many people. And what a splendid day it's been for Sport Aid, for all those taking part, and especially for those with the imagination to arrange it all, to set it all up. Splendid day it's been, Ron.
Good day to be around.
And you did your own little marathon there very well.
Staggering from city to city. But it was a great day to be involved in, was it not? And I think the message has got around that, you know, there is a joy in giving. And I hope that the message is still there. For God's sake, go on giving. Well, it's desperately needed.